I'm a girl with the Florida Gators.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was just checking to see if you were listening.
From Cheyenne, Louisiana. Hold on a second.
Hey, guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay? Thank you.
Momentum, excitement, energy. They say all this stuff and you know what they mean, but it doesn't describe what you mean. It's just sort of out there.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
I was just worried about, listening to, all your guys' rap poison.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. Here are your hosts, Sergio and Tyler.
Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And today, Tyler, we are reviewing everything that happened in Week 7, and we are also previewing everything that will happen in Week 8 of the 2021 college football season. Scheduling issues have had us, have to do this combined episode like we did last week, and that's okay. We will talk about the Gator game against LSU. I know, me too. We will go through the notable games. We'll mention the AP Top 25, and then we'll go into 5 wide and 2 point for next week because there is no Florida game next week. There is a bye week, so we don't have to preview anything Gators related for next week.
Aren't y'all lucky? You don't have to hear about us talk about Florida that much.
I don't know, Tyler. I heard the Gators are only like a 3-point favorite against the bye, so we're gonna have to see if it works out.
It's all about what quarterback starts.
We'll save that for next week, Tyler. We will save that discussion for next week. We will actually be starting with quick hits because there are some quick hits this week. 3 massive pieces of news in college football happened since the last time we recorded. We'll start off with the fact that Coach O, no longer the head football coach at Louisiana State University.
Which is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because he is finishing out the season, but they've agreed that he will not be the coach at the end of the season. And when you find out that all came to an agreement after the Kentucky game before the Florida game, it makes the Florida game even more baffling. But it's from my understanding, what I've read, there are on the field performance issues involved, but actually the main reason he's being let go, it has to do with off the field concerns. Well, one, we have stated on this podcast that he has mishandled sexual assault cases left and right. We have called for,
and it's pretty sad that we have to say sexual assault cases plural.
Oh yeah,
because it means that he was given multiple opportunities to rectify, and clearly he did not.
But evidently the reason is that he tried to use his position as the head football coach of Louisiana State University to, how do I say this on our non-explicit podcast?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll bleep it out.
Okay.
Coach O and his hoes were out there, his girlfriends. He was bringing them around the facility a bit too much. There were reports that the children of these girls that he was dating were participating in team drills. And I haven't gotten clarification if it's little kids, if that means little kids are running on a tackling dummy, or if it's my 16-year-old is going to be playing head up with a LSU defensive lineman. I don't know which one it is. I'm going to choose to believe that it's the little kids running on the tackling dummies.
That's innocent enough.
Exactly. That is not jeopardizing the health of a 16-year-old going up against a 21-year-old grown man that plays in the SEC. So I'm going to choose the former of those two analogies.
Additionally, there's a report that he tried to hit on a woman at a gas station that ended up being the married, pregnant wife of an LSU administrative official.
Yeah, don't do that one, Coach. I think it's important to note, by the way, that Coach O is a single man. This isn't right. Exactly. He and his wife got a divorce, I think, shortly after the national championship game. So it's not in 2019. So it's not he was wilding and there was also a wife involved. No, he was a single. He was just a wilding out single man who was mixing work life and home life a little bit too much, I guess.
I suppose. On top of that, he has not had a great last 2 seasons. Well, last 1.5 seasons. It's LSU. He won a national championship with them. Amazing. He's some Gene Chizik level stuff happened here. and he's gone in a season and a half because LSU, after that national championship, has looked like a shell of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the first season, it was kind of okay because it was such a stack everybody in this 1 year national championship. Like, so many players were upperclassmen that were only going to be there. All the coordinators left. It was a full clean house afterwards. So you got why they looked like a shell of themselves the next year. They've not looked any better this year, is the thing.
And I kind of want to cut him a little bit of slack. Not only he lost so many people, but COVID happened, and there were a lot of situations that weren't going right, and it's not the best. But I think coupled with the off the field stuff that it's apparently been reported,
and the fact that there are replacement candidates out there that look really potentially interesting,
and the fact that PR wise, they're in a bad situation with these sexual assault allegations, and the fact that the Darius Guy situation and all that kind of stuff. So I think it was time. We said, I'm very proud of us on Sideline Judgment, Tyler, for after at the beginning of last season, and everyone was like, oh, LSU will be fine. And we said, you don't lose that much productivity, and then all of a sudden you're fine. And we were proven correct. I also think that I give him credit for kind of going the opposite way in terms of how to beat Bama. You're not going to out Bama, all right? You're not going to establish a better long-term factory-style program than Nick Saban in Alabama. So what do? You load up on one singular year. You can out-talent them 1 year. And after you do that, you're able to go off and you're able to,
hopefully win a title 3-4 years later. But
exactly. It's a different approach. But hey, listen, I mean, you and I would both take a national championship any day of the week if we had to go through that situation. You know what I mean?
I think sometimes people, it's something that has happened also in the NFL because of the Patriots, and is that people try to load up on people try to create dynasties because there are other dynasties that exist. However, I think that the smarter thing actually to do is load up on championship run years. Like in the NFL, create a window of 3-4 years where you can try and like get a win. Or as in college football, try to build up your team to get to a win in one of every like couple of years. And that happens a lot in college football. But I think Coach O at LSU perfected that, but the pendulum swung way far in the other direction where it was so good that 1 year, possibly the greatest college football team ever, to very bad afterwards. And
it's very difficult to be able to keep that consistent. And the pendulum's always going to swing the other way, right? You have one of the best offenses in NCAA history. You're going to regress when you lose Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Joe Brady and all these people that helped them win that national title. So do you have any potential? I mean, I don't know why I'm asking this. Like, here's the real question I should ask you, Tyler.
There is one person for this job. It is Billy Napier at Louisiana.
So there is a report out there that says that Billy Napier has not gotten in contact with the LSU administration or search people. My question to you is going to be, how much of that do you believe? Right. But clearly you're on the same page as me. So
sure, Mr. Mel Tucker, I haven't talked to Michigan State at all.
I just love that we're both on that same page and we're both
people. For some reason, Billy Napier honestly may not end up getting the job because there's another candidate that comes forth, or the athletic director hires somebody else, or who knows. But it's just almost too perfect. Billy Napier turned down all of these SEC jobs. The only ones that could potentially open that are better are the LSU, and I'm just saying it's not going to happen, but Florida would be up in there.
I was wondering to see if you were going to mention a certain institution that we are fond of.
And it's not outside of the realm of possibility, but I genuinely don't think it's going to happen. But like, that's the type of job that would be one that he would go after. And like, but the real one is that Billy Napier stayed at Louisiana, where he has most of his team back, so they're really good this year. But he turned down Auburn, turned down Tennessee, turned down South Carolina. He's waiting for a bigger job, and the bigger jobs than that are the only one that's really probably going to open this cycle is LSU, one in the state that he's already in. So it's just too perfect in my opinion.
I can dream about a Billy Napier Florida team, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't been hired yet.
Listen, I know a job where Billy Napier isn't going to go, and that is Washington State, because that is also a new opening in college football. Nick Rolovich, the former coach at Washington State, effective immediately. It's not like LSU where Ole Miss is going to finish. Right, where Coach O is going to finish out the season. He was fired at Wazoo for cause because he would not comply with the state mandate to get a vaccine. This is something that he knew at the beginning of the season. His staff knew at the beginning of the season. And now he is threatening to sue Washington State for firing him without cause. Tyler, sure. We are not medical experts, but just 2 quick words about the Nick Rolovich situation.
Me?
Yes, if you would be ever so kind, good sir.
For 2 words? I have so many thoughts about this.
All right, we won't get into this, but just know Tyler and I are.
I mean, like, first of all, from an actual perspective, I do think that it is kind of deplorable that, you know, coaches ask their players to sacrifice so much for the team, all in the name of the team, and yet when Nick Rolovich is asked to, first of all, sacrifice to get a vaccine is ridiculous because the vaccine saves lives. But anyway, he is asked to sacrifice a minor personal belief for his team, and he refused to do it and is now trying to sue about it, even though this is a state mandate. On the flip side, I saw a really funny thing on college football Reddit that the government official who put the state mandate in effect is the University of Washington Huskies alum.
Yes. I adore that so much.
Tier rivalry.
I love this. I love the Wazoo Washington secret sneaky. I can't believe this guy put him in place in order to do that. Which honestly, if I was a Washington fan, I would do everything in my power to keep Nick Rolovich at Washington State with all the chaos. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Washington State's better than them this year, but who knows now?
Very true.
I mean, this man took Jaron Garantano as a quarterback transfer, so he obviously doesn't know what he's talking about.
He willingly took Jaron Garantano as
he's not even playing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, Nick Rolovich there's a statewide vaccine mandate for public officials. He is a public official, and he didn't do it after having multiple chances to. So he got them consequences.
Yep, exactly.
Listen,
I respect people's ability to choose what to put in their body. I think it's dumb, but I also think there are consequences to those actions, and I'm kind of glad that they went through with it. You know what I mean? They went through with it. So
I love that he's planning to sue as if that's going to go anywhere. Which
Let me sue
the state of Washington too.
It's just not going to work out for him. Tyler, one last piece of quick hits before we move on. The American Athletics Conference is expanding. There are 6 teams that are being added. Of those teams, you have Charlotte, North Texas, UTSA, Rice, UAB, and my beloved Owls of Florida Atlantic University. Good sir. Can I please get a round of applause, please? Please, good sir.
Hoot, hoot.
Hoot, hoot, ladies and gentlemen. Those 6 teams that are all from Conference USA would then make up be part of a 14-team American Conference in football and basketball. They have said that they would be joining at 2023 at the earliest, and that depends on what UCF, Houston, and Cincinnati's departure from the conference is going to look like. So, if they leave early, then maybe they can find a way to get some finances to pay out. This is essentially killing Conference USA, if we're being honest.
Oh no, this is a death sentence. Conference USA.
Oh yeah, this is 6 of their 12. This is 6 of their 12 teams, I believe. It's half their schools. Conference USA, in order to survive, is going to need to either pull up schools. Honestly, merge them with. We'll see what happens to them, but I think this is a great move for those 6 institutions. If I was the American, I may have gone after a few different schools. I don't know if I would have taken Rice. I know academically they're good and they're in the city of Houston. I don't know if I would have taken North Texas. I'm a fan of Will. I'm a fan of Will Healy. I don't know if I'm a fan of Charlotte as an institution, as an athletic department.
Yeah, is Will Healy going to be there when that happens? No, I
don't think so either.
Now it is a matter of Charlotte's. Charlotte's relatively new on the scene in regards to college football, so there's potential there. Rice and North Texas aren't new, so it'd be more of a geographical play than anything else. But so you get another team in Texas, but you already have so many teams. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where maybe those schools just really wanted to join, and it was like pennies to do so. So that's what happened. Who knows?
Who knows? I think they're going a bit more for markets, which, as we saw from the last time around, isn't the smartest thing to do. I read a great thing by Bill Barnwell. He's a writer at ESPN. He's the one that does the SP plus metric, saying that last time this happened, Conference USA went after markets and Sunbelt, I believe. Yeah, and the Sunbelt just went after good football programs, and it turned out to work out better for the Sunbelt. So I'm interested to see if the American is able to kind of just put these programs together. It's going to be exciting to see like FAU take on Memphis and, go to Temple and still keep a lot of these fun programs together.
What about their FIU rivalry? What's going to happen there?
I think it's going to be the same as the UCF USF rivalry, where they're going to try to schedule.
I don't care
if they
about
don't,
that.
I know. But that's a similar philosophy and stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens to the Shulable.
Yeah,
all right, Tyler.
We'll have to see.
Moving on to the sad part of the episode for us, at least. LSU 49, Florida 42. Do you want to start with Dan Mullen, Todd Grantham? Which one do you want to start with? Offense or defense?
Let's start with defense, because honestly, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple review of what happened with the defense.
Yeah.
Todd Grantham reverted to his 2020 self, and LSU ran like the exact same play like 12 times. But honestly, like 60 times. They were running the same thing. They were running the ball because not even really because it was working, I think, because they had only practiced that. Like they had practiced a limited playbook.
When you enter being one of the worst rushing offenses in the country, I understand that the expectation is to play a bit more pass coverage. But when you're running the same play 13, 14 times, you would think that there would be a defensive adjustment made, right?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was nothing made. It is honestly, it's worse performance than any of the 2020 games, because like this, I know this defense from a personnel standpoint is like can match up, can stop the run, and there's
talent on this defense.
They just didn't. I don't know, like what happened. Todd Grantham, what are you doing? And you can't even run the same play 60 times in NCAA football 14. The computer will stop you.
Absolutely.
The computer will figure it out. The computer will make an adjustment. Like you can't even actually do that. Like so there were like several drives where Max Johnson, the LSU quarterback, was genuinely like not even a factor. He may as well not have been in the game. Because there was that one touchdown drive where they ran every single play with the exception of the play action at the goal line to score the touchdown. Yep, on the 4th and goal. Which, you know what? Good credit for him. He should have made that play. That was a great play. And it's just, that was the frustrating part, because I just need to switch over to the Dan Mullen side. Like Florida, there was a definite momentum shift on the offense for Florida. Something was found, something incredible to watch, and something definite. And it didn't matter. Todd Grantham made it not matter. And ultimately, I know that is Todd Grantham's fault in like first and foremost, but it falls on Dan Mullen too. Oh, absolutely. It 100% falls on Dan Mullen. Because like you said, the offense was clicking at certain times. I thought Emory played a decent game. I didn't think he was horrible. I thought he played a pretty decent game. The pseudo Hail Mary at the end of the first half was a pretty good throw. Like he put it kind of where he needed to have it. Justin Shorter made a fantastic grab, but like he put it where it needed to be. And then when Emory, you also have to try to play Hail Mary coverage that bad. You have to try. That's true. And then when Anthony Richardson went in the game, we saw, okay, cool. He's now comfortable with the playbook. He can go in and he can do these things. I've said it multiple times before. I will criticize Mullen, but the one thing that I will have probably too much Mullen-like patience in this situation will be in his development of quarterbacks. I trust him to be able to know when to give a certain player more, when to pull back a bit less. It's the tough thing where it's like Mullen, I think, if you could get paid head coach level just to be an offensive coordinator and like get the head coach respect to be an offensive coordinator, that's what he would do, I think. Right. But because it's the tough thing where I'm like, there are many Florida fans who are just straight up starting new, and it might be a bit of an overreaction, I think. But it is a bit of an overreaction. But it's it's one of those things where this loss, losing to this LSU team, because you start the wrong quarterback, but then even then your defense, which we all told you to fire this guy after last year, and you didn't. And it turns out it cost you again to a team you should not have lost to, that you are better than. Like,
right.
That's like, it's becoming a consistent problem. This is becoming who Dan Mullen is, and that's a problem. But it's one of those things where, like, I do caution people just a little bit. I'm like, do you think Anthony Richardson is going to be this good with another person calling the plays? No,
right.
I don't know. I mean, other than that, Billy Napier could come in here, just hypothetically, and, you know, Levi Lewis is a great quarterback under Billy Napier at Louisiana, and Anthony Richardson is sure as hell more talented than him. Like, and so you don't know, but like, this is becoming, losing these type of games because of stubbornness and I'll kind of say arrogance from Dan Mullen's side in preparation is not becoming, it's becoming a feature, not a bug in the system. It's just becoming a part of Dan Mullen's coaching tenure, a coaching tenure that looked so bright in the first 2 years. In the first 2 years, it looked like, with a couple things going the right way, he was on track to get to the Spurrier-Urban level of, and now he's looking similarly like a prettier version of Will McWayne and Muschamp right now. That's what the results are telling you in this word. Like, yeah, we score points, but we are losing the same games that we lost with them.
Right.
I think like games we shouldn't lose.
We're losing in a prettier fashion.
Yeah, we're losing in a prettier fashion. And that's the thing. I want to go back in time. We all said back in McElwain and Muschamp games that we would willingly be a bad team if we could lose it 49-42. Like,
Very true.
We did say that. And so I want to give credit to that. But we're past that point. Like,
but I also think, though, that statement was made without the foresight of, hey, these next 2 years are actually going to be really good in terms of developing the program as a whole. And rather than kind of continually taking steps forward, we're taking a step backwards.
Forward, and now we're taking steps back. Like, that's the thing, is that Dan Mullen's success was really great. He had really good success his first 2 years. And then something happened in his third year where the team was so good in one area, and due to decisions and just the way things fell back in the other direction, and they've not corrected themselves.
And it's even in the way he
lost
speaks.
To a coach that was already fired.
Yeah, no, literally like, lost to a coach that's already fired.
Now lost 3 in a row against Coach O.
Right.
One of which, in my opinion, is excusable.
And the thing there is, yeah, exactly. The 2019
the 2019 game against LSU, completely excusable. We almost tied them in that game. We almost won that game.
Well, we said that if we had, it was similar to the Alabama game that same year, where the Alabama game last year in the title game, where if we just had a little bit more time, we probably could have scored and taken it a bit further. But I think there's a difference in Mullen, not only in just the results, but also in just the way that he's kind of addressing the culture with the team, where the first couple of years, it was very much like, you got to win. There's the famous quote of, you want to go do stadiums, I'll beat your ass. You want to thumb wrestle, you want to arm wrestle, I'll beat your ass. Like, you want to have to compete. And now his demeanor is very different. He is the one who
doesn't have that now.
Exactly. It seems like the players themselves have that, but I don't know if the coaching staff is on that same level. And granted, in terms of the coaching staff, I really just mean Mullen and Grantham. Because we've seen Billy Gonzalez.
I really do.
I think so as well. I think we can improve in recruiting, but as always, it's a question of, is Dan Mullen treating Florida like it's Mississippi State? Because it's not. It is not Mississippi State. No disrespect to them, but it is not Mississippi State.
And that's the ultimate question, because it's a matter of, when he was at Mississippi State, Dan Mullen ran it the way that, and I'll continue to give Dan Mullen all the credit in the world. He's the best coach Mississippi State has ever had. He is the best coach in program history. He made them something that historically they're not, and they're again finding out that they're not. That it's very hard for them to be like that. And now, when he came to a bigger job, you're like, okay, he has more access to talent. He'll be better. In a lot of ways, his offenses here have been better than any of the ones at Mississippi State because of the talent that he's had, like statistically. And he's getting better quarterbacks. But the thought process was, now he's at a big-time program, he'll be even better. And so far, he's been a little better. He's not, but he's running Florida like he ran Mississippi State. He's not running Mississippi State like he should run Florida, And
yeah, I agree. I agree.
That's going to be a problem. Now, important to note for Florida, besides Georgia, the rest of the schedule is looking really easy.
But here's the thing, though.
Missouri, South Carolina, Stanford, Florida State. Even with how bad this team has been, that should be 4 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very likely you can finish this season 8-4. All of that to say, I think he'll get another year unless he decides to move on or tries to get a different job. Because I know that there's been rumors, and I think Dan Mullen wants an NFL head coaching job.
Well, he's not going to get one if
he's not going to get one now,
right?
And that's part of the thing that I think has been the shift is that last year I think he wanted to parlay last year's team, the best offense he's ever had, into an NFL head coaching job, and he fumbled the bag at the end. And I think that is carrying over into this year. This is me speculating. This is like
right.
And Mullen could totally fix this. Again, all of it's be able to fixable. But so far, from what he's done, he's not shown a willingness to do it. So until it happens, it looks bleak. It's like what I talked about with change I talked about in weeks prior, the concept of change in college football is that change doesn't have to mean a change of leadership, like a change at the head coaching position. But often it does because head coaches are incapable of change.
Right.
Change, what needs to be changed doesn't have to mean Mullen needs to be fired. He can make those changes, but is he going to?
And that's the thing where we haven't seen proof or evidence that he can make those changes because even when we look back at his tenure at Mississippi State, the only coordinator he's ever fired is Manny Diaz. In his over 10, 12, 13 year career as a head coach, he's only fired one coach. So, and the comments after the game where he's talking about, no, this game doesn't change my perspective of Grantham. We're evaluating things every single day. Like that's such a cop out answer. Like he would have held his coordinators and his players to the fire 2 years ago. And I don't know what's changed, to be honest.
Maybe he's just trying to get fired so he gets that buyout money.
Well, we have said before, the best job in the world is a fired SEC head coach.
If that is secretly what's going on, Dan Mullen, not gonna lie, I super applaud it.
Chess, not checkers.
Like I know it's my team and I hate it, but also, hey, like just taking a step back. That fired coach money, he you know what he wants to happen. He wants to be fired so he can be offensive coordinator at Clemson and just make $1 million.
Honestly, though, I think he's better suited for the NFL because he doesn't have to deal with the recruiting aspect of it. He talks a lot about having a work-life balance, and I think he can spend more time with his family and stuff like that. I think that's what he's looking at.
That's something. And I know that Dan Mullen has is better than a lot of head coaches at creating a work-life balance for his assistants, which is why a lot of the assistants that can find a way to work for him stay there for a very long time.
Absolutely.
But there's an element of, it's been said great, and I do want to bring this up. This is probably the last thing we talk about, like before we have to move on. But there's an element of, is Florida willing? Are they okay with being a Michigan level program, or do they want to be Ohio State? Like, are you okay with 9 to 10 wins a season? Because like you could certainly do worse, and like grass is always greener on the other side. I don't want Florida to lose what it is in regards to being a perennial talented team that people want to go to. With Dan Mullen, you're probably going to get that. But are you okay with that? Or are you okay with being Jim Harbaugh's Michigan, where you'll always be close to title contention, but are you ever going to win it? Are you ever going to make it to the playoff? Or do you want to go win a national championship?
And the sad thing is that there is no in between there because of the way college football works nowadays. And I don't think that our fan base is receptive to being a Michigan.
I don't think so either. And I don't think they should be, honestly.
No, of course not.
It's tough because you have to, from where we were, being Michigan would have been all we asked for. But now we're not there anymore. Now it's very, and the thing again, that's frustrating is that it's very clear the way Dan Mullen's tenure has gone is that the first 2 years were so good. And now he's taking steps back, and that's not what you want to see. So
exactly.
So this is a huge mark on Dan Mullen's resume, and they're not going to. The only thing he can really do to fix it right now is to start Anthony Richardson against Georgia to make a change.
And even there was a report today that said that he hasn't committed to a quarterback yet, which honestly is probably gamesmanship in my opinion.
I don't. I just care about who trots out there.
No, I agree.
I don't care about what he says at this point because you're playing your biggest rival. You got 2 weeks to prepare. You're not going to tell the media anything.
Of course. I mean, they still want to win the game. I know that the fans think the season is over, but the players don't, and the coaches don't.
I mean, if they found a way to beat Georgia, what would that do for his? I mean, there'd be a lot of fans that would be like, that would have him win it back over. But then there's a lot of people that would be like, so you had the capability to do this all season.
Right.
So what you got to do now.
There's always going to be detractors though. I think you can celebrate the Georgia victory, the potential Georgia victory, and also say, man, I wish we could have done better throughout the season. I mean, and be hopeful for change in the future.
I, as a fan, would just be happy about potentially ruining their season. That's all I would care about.
That would be perfect for me.
But I mean, again, I don't think any of this is going to happen. But it's just a matter of this season is already so down deep for you, Dan Mullen, because you have messed it up.
Right.
So hopefully you can pull it back out by the end and makes it. If you make some changes in the offseason, I'm willing to see what the next year looks like. But
I agree.
Dan Mullen has to show signs that he wants to change something, or else, as great of a head coach, or as great as an offensive mind as he is, and as much better we are now than I think we were before we hired him. And I don't want to do revisionist history. He was absolutely the right choice in that moment.
Yes, I agree.
In his hiring cycle, he was 10 out of 10 the right choice for us to make. It's just a matter of, is he still the right choice? So we'll see.
No, great point. All right, let's move on, Tyler. Let's go to notable games from last week. We got Clemson 17, Syracuse 14. That game was on Friday night. Clemson's rushing offense looks non-existent.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
And they have talented wide receivers and occasionally DJ. They don't have a consistent passing offense. They are capable of making explosive plays or just clutch plays here and there because they have the talent to do it. And DJ has a talented arm. He's still learning, but the rushing offense is not there. Now, granted, they're so hit with injuries.
Yeah, they are.
It's just, it's funny though, because on top of all of this, Clemson's defense is still spectacular.
That's the thing where it's the problem is on one side of the ball. Defense is still great. Brett Venables is proving that he deserves to be the highest paid coordinator in the country. He's doing a great job over there.
And also, Dino Babers, coach is scared, man. What are you doing?
I know.
You playing for a field goal that you miss?
Not everyone is built in that aggressive mentality, but I think you need to in order to be able to succeed nowadays.
I don't know. Also, this game was confusing to watch because of the uniforms.
Yeah, I saw the extended highlights for here, and it was like, oh my gosh,
who's doing what?
All right, moving on to Saturday. Purdue 24, Iowa 7. Listen,
what did we say? What did we say?
We were just a week early. That's all it was. We were just a few weeks early.
I was criticized in the group chat for not entertaining an Iowa playoff appearance, and then what happened?
Look at you. Look at God. Look at God looking out for you, Tyler.
Also,
incredible.
Shout out Purdue.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the thing. Purdue's quarterback, whose name is escaping me right now, turned into Drew Brees. If we're talking about Purdue quarterbacks, he was throwing all over. I think he was 36 for 45 or something, had close to 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked good. Did a great job of moving it on that really good Iowa defense. Iowa's defense is not a scrub defense. I thought they were the second, maybe third best defense in the country behind Georgia and Clemson. But oh my gosh, did they do a great job of throwing and scoring on that defense?
Jeff Brom's saving his job a little bit. He's not that I think he was in danger, but it was definitely one of those things where it's just all right, Jeff Brom's kind of good, but Purdue keeps being Purdue, and they're really good this year looking.
Right. I still think he should have gone to Louisville when he had the chance.
I don't disagree.
Moving forward, Michigan State 20, Indiana 15. I just like this because it's showing that Mel Tucker's just winning football games in any way he can.
Mm-hmm.
This team is doing fantastic. That a Heisman caliber running back. They're moving the ball well. The defense is playing tough, hard-nosed football. It's just so much fun. I can't wait for Michigan State to just crash the Big Ten East party. They're undefeated. Michigan's still undefeated. It's going to look good. Those are the top two teams. I think they play the not this week, but next week, I believe.
I'm not
We'll
sure.
see how it goes.
We're getting down to it. The season is going by really fast. So,
Oh yeah. We're getting down to it. I'm excited. Utah 35, Arizona State 21. Tyler, you're the Pac-12 type of guy. How was this game?
Arizona State came out looking really good early, and Utah kicked their butt in the second half.
Oh yeah.
Utah scored 28 of their points in the second half. This was a game where Utah just kicked it in late and just started blowing them off the ball late in the game, and it was a matter of resiliency.
I think it's important to note that not only did Utah score those 28 points in the second half, they were unanswered. Arizona State had 21 points at halftime, so they were able to.
Not great. That's not great.
No, hey, Utah best program in the Pac-12 South? Question mark? We'll see.
Nope, there ain't no question mark about it, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's not saying much either, though.
Yeah,
Baylor,
for sure.
Baylor 38, BYU 24. Baylor looking good, my friend.
Baylor's
defensively
good.
looking well. They're able to contain BYU pretty well. I mean, still 24 points.
That is another thing. LSU could bring Dave Aranda back.
Ooh.
Just because of his history there and the people there. Now, I think Dave Aranda wants to get to the NFL at some point.
Okay.
Because he's a defensive coordinator minded guy. And I think, I don't know, but I'm thinking they're looking good this year.
So if Dave Aranda wants to get to the NFL, what's the better route? Stay at Baylor a couple more years and then jump from there, or go to LSU and try to take on this rebuilding project?
I think he's going the Matt Rule route. I think he stays at Baylor.
I agree. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
I don't think if you go to LSU, it's going to be you're going to get caught up in the wind of the college football recruiting and the college football race and the championship
high level
race.
Yeah.
And your name's going to become synonymous with college football. Your name is not going to be a hot coaching candidate. Matt Rule was great in college, but it's like Matt Rule. It's like the whole thing with we're hiring successful college coaches never works, and people forget that Matt Rule was a super successful college coach because he only did it for a couple of years, and he had a good year at Baylor.
Right. Well, he went Temple to Baylor to the Carolina Panthers. Yeah,
and it was just like, when was the last time a college coach worked out in the NFL? And I'm like, we got several in but you don't think they're college coaches because they didn't coach at one of the 8 schools that you think about when you're in the NFL.
I think people are jaded with Steve Spurrier with Washington in the 2000s, and then people just forget that Pete Carroll was the architect behind one of the greatest dynasties in college football history.
Every single time they're like, when was the last time a college coach worked in the NFL? It was freaking, it was Jimmy Johnson. I'm like, Pete Carroll won a freaking Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Whatever,
Absolutely.
never mind.
All right, quickly through the next ones. Minnesota 30, Nebraska 23. This is just... is Nebraska going bowling? Because it seems like Nebraska plays good football when they're during the game, and then just finds a way to, no pun intended, fumble the bag at the end of each game, and they lose.
You kidding me? They're not going bowling.
It's insane.
Not because they're bad, just because they keep losing, which is a weird statement. But
yeah, no, I'm with you. Speaking of freshman quarterbacks making their first start, Oklahoma 52, TCU 31. I'd like to shout out The Daily, the Oklahoma student newspaper, that reported earlier in the week that Caleb
Williams.
I was going to say Thompson. Thank you very much. That Caleb Williams was getting his first career start. He took binoculars to a quote unquote public building. I don't know what that means, where you could see the practice facility and notice that it was Caleb Williams was the one taking the first team starter reps. I feel bad for Spencer Rattler. Every time you see him on the sideline, he looks like an 8-year-old who just got his toys taken away. He's definitely going to be transferring.
He wasn't doing anything with those toys.
Nah, he wasn't doing anything with. He was actually deciding to throw to his other friend's toys, which is ironic. He did that a lot too. So this is a good game from him.
Williams,
I think
they looked explosive. Even TCU scored 31 points. So they didn't. It was like it was never close, but still got that defense question just nagging at you.
Oh boy. North Carolina 45, Miami 42. North Carolina took care of business. Miami's kind of in shambles right now. It's very difficult to
I didn't even
put
clock
into
that
words.
This game happened. Like I didn't like.
So this is a game that they've been talking about on like Miami Sports Radio. I've been doing it in the mornings when I go to the gym. I've been listening to it, and the narrative is very much give the young guys a chance. If we're gonna fail, let's fail with the young guys and not with the guys that we've been failing with for a couple of years. And I'm waiting for the Manny Diaz is fired news article to just drop out. I don't expect it because of what's happening with that administration and reporting that's happened, where they're kind of not really worried about athletics. Yeah, listen, I want to credit the media as well for this victory, this North Carolina victory. So proud of the media for winning this game for the Tar Heels. Really means a lot to the media.
It's ridiculous.
That's the last game of notable games. I did put here FSU did beat the bye week 17-0. No injuries reported, none of that. So we always kind of end with FSU on notable games just for fun. So they did beat the bye week. Tyler, let's move forward to 5 wide. Oklahoma State 32, Texas 24. We both picked Texas, and boy, were we wrong. They were run all over.
Freaking time. Like, every time. I'm like, yeah, but Oklahoma State won't win this one. Like,
and then they win.
And they do it. Stupid. Yeah, they, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it paired with the next game. I think we can do both of these at the same time because Auburn scored 38 points on Arkansas, who scored 23. They beat them as well. Those are both games that I was very confident in, Texas and Arkansas. And good Bo Nix was like, guys, I'm not leaving. I showed up this year. I'm staying.
He continues to show up. Auburn's offense looks functional. Like
it does.
It looked good. He connected on several deep passes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, and also on Texas' side, Texas got just completely run over in the second half. Like,
well, that's the thing where Texas
it was
Texas
a really
problem.
competitive game, and then it stopped being a competitive game.
Texas is doing this thing where they're showing up for probably about half of a game, and you don't know which half it's going to be. And for Texas fans, I hope it's a second half because you have a better chance of winning if it's in the second half than it is in the first half. And then with Arkansas, listen, like you said, Auburn kind of beat them deep a couple of times. Bo Nix was doing his thing. And Arkansas is kind of coming back to earth. You know, I don't think they're a bad football team at all. But it is very clear that it's Ole Miss is the second best team in that division. If Auburn keeps peaking this way, it's going to be fun around Thanksgiving time to see what happens at the Iron Bowl. I'm not saying that Auburn's going to win, but I'm just all I want is I want an entertaining football game.
I saw it said on Twitter by Spencer Hall, where it's just like the only thing funnier than Bo Nix having beaten Alabama once would Bo Nix have beat Alabama twice.
It would be incredible. It would be incredible. I guess maybe if he beats him twice, then that means that the Gus Malzahn powers stayed with Bo Nix when he left to UCF.
Maybe.
They got to keep one constant in that little building.
Bo Nix is only a junior, and he ain't declaring for the draft. So
he should not declare for the draft. And I think he's
got a chance to go 3-1.
Listen, as much as we said that we didn't know if this Brian Harsin hire was going to work out in the SEC, if there's one thing the man can do, it's develop quarterbacks, and it looks like he's doing that pretty well. So
yeah.
All right, so those are those two games. We both picked Texas and Arkansas, and neither of us got the points. Kentucky 13, Georgia 30. We both picked Georgia. We both get the points. There's not much to talk about here. It went exactly how we thought it was going to go.
Stetson Bennett played well, and I continue to wonder, can Stetson Bennett win you a national championship?
No. NC State 33. We will find out. No, I think when it comes down to it, I think JT Daniels is going to push through whatever it is that he has. Or I don't know, man. Maybe they just kind of roll with Stetson Bennett.
It's just it's tough because you sit there and you look at is Alabama going to beat them in this championship? Because it's going to be hard for me to see other teams in the other conferences beating them in the playoff. I could see Ohio State doing it just because they have the offense, but we'll see.
Right. Exactly.
Continue.
No, that was just it. We both picked Georgia, so we both get the points there.
Yeah.
Next up, we have NC State 33, Boston College 7. Tyler, I don't know why you picked Boston College. I told you that Phil Dracovic was out for the season. I got the point there. You did not. Is there anything that you would like to say to the listeners in an apology format, in a way that you want to kind of admit that you were wrong? Yeah, I'll leave you with the stage.
No.
Well put. I'm so happy with that. Ole Miss 31, Tennessee 26. We both picked Ole Miss on this one, but the story here is that Tennessee
So
fans
much
go
happened
golfing.
here.
Tennessee fans go golfing? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were
that's all
golfing.
anyone from Tennessee ever talks about.
Absolutely.
It's a sport where they don't have to be reminded that Peyton Manning never beat Florida.
Oh, pow, pow, pow.
I don't know how that has anything to do with it, but I wanted to fit that dig in there.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should.
Tennessee played pretty well in this game comparatively, but Ole Miss is a better team. Ole Miss was dealing with a lot of injuries in this game. Like players were getting injured in the game. Matt Corral did not look great at the end in regards to his physical health. But I will say that good on Ole Miss for keeping it together. Tennessee's defense played both better and not as well as I thought, they would. And Tennessee's offense was playing relatively well. Although Hendon Hooker, what are you doing? Like
I don't understand. I don't understand it. I
don't
get
it.
it.
Runs out of bounds. Like
I don't know,
time's already expired. The time expired during the play. You have to do something here, and you run out of bounds. Like,
I mean, listen, Tennessee as a whole this weekend really decided to want to throw at people. Just seems like he was trying to throw at the other team sometimes throughout this game. And like you said, how do you run out of bounds in the last play of the game? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't know. It's Tennessee played pretty well, and I think a lot of it had to do with the atmosphere because there's a lot of excitement. But Ole Miss is still better,
right?
And good for Lane Kiffin for getting back to Knoxville and getting that win.
He deserved it.
Feel good.
He deserved it. I want to ask you a question too, Tyler. Have you ever brought a mustard bottle into an NFL into a college football stadium before?
No, I haven't. And the best part about it is that that thing is filled with moonshine. But like, my question is, just as a way to smuggle something into a game, why is a mustard bottle your go-to? Like,
even like if you're trying to do something like conspicuous where it won't get noticed, if I'm security and I see a mustard bottle, I'm gonna notice. Like, how is that? Like, oh, what do you got here? Oh, it's just my mustard.
Like,
I don't know, dude. I don't try to understand Tennessee.
How some person's gonna have a golf ball in their pocket. It's the SEC. Like, like that happens. Now, did they bring it specifically so they could throw it at somebody? Honestly, I would believe it from Tennessee.
I think since it was directed at Lane Kiffin, I think that was something that was on purpose.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe somebody just swiped the mustard bottle from one of the concession stands and just had it for some reason.
But then Neyland Stadium, you just have like random mustard bottles sitting out there. You don't have the little generic like mass squeeze thing that every stadium has.
I don't know. Like,
oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't understand them.
Tennessee deserved to lose with the way that happened.
Right. Exactly. We're going to move forward to the 2-point conversions. I picked Pitt over Virginia Tech, 28-7. I get those 2 points. And Tyler, you picked Washington State, 34.
I picked Stanford.
You picked Stanford.
31, Washington State 34. A reminder that Nick Rolovich just got fired after he won a game. And Stanford played really well at the start. Then they just fumbled it. Washington State scored 20 straight. And then Stanford climbed back, had the lead, and at the very last second, Washington State wins. And I feel robbed. I feel cheated. I feel it's just because he got fired the next day. Like I feel I was robbed of points. I'm not now. This is what Stanford gets for beating a top 5 team in overtime. They get beat in the last drive of the game.
The pendulum will swing, Tyler. The pendulum will swing.
Stanford has not beaten Washington State in 5 years.
I know.
There has been 2 senior classes that have never beaten Washington State. That's actually insane to me. But again, Stanford was fine, and it is funny because I saw something funny where it was just an Oregon fan was like, "No, Stanford, I needed you to win this." And Stanford's like, "We told you we'd ruin your season."
We ruined your season by beating you and then losing. Aren't you glad you went on this roller coaster instead of picking what you were going to originally pick with, though?
Not super, because it ended pretty much the same way. Washington barely lost to UCLA. And while this game was happening in the period because Stanford, like I said, got to a really early lead, then gave up 20 something straight points and were down. And and while that was happening, Washington was leading UCLA. And I was like, if I had the right pick and then made the wrong pick, I'll be so upset with myself.
Yikes.
And they both the teams I would have picked ended up losing, so it didn't matter. It's just not my year.
It is what it is at that point, Tyler. All right, so the point score to date, I have 36. Tyler has 24. Tyler, good Lord. May the good Lord help you. I don't think you've led at all this season, dude.
Oh, I did. No, I led in the first 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I've been up for so long that I forgot.
I haven't led since.
All right, Tyler, listen, that's it for the recap section of the podcast. We're going to take a short break. We're going to be back with the preview section of the podcast. We'll talk a little bit about the AP poll. A certain team is number 2 in the country. We'll talk about them. Florida's on a bye week, so we will go straight into our 5-wide and our 2-point conversion. So we will see you on the other side of the break. Welcome back to Sideline Judgment. Thank you for bearing with us with that short break that we had. We're going to go into the preview section of this podcast. Tyler, the AP Top 25 is out. There are 24 positions that do not matter. There is only let me you know what? Let me take it back. There are 23 positions that do not matter. The only 2 that matter are the fact that UTSA is ranked 24th. That's 7-0. Welcome to the top 25, UTSA. And the other one that matters is the number 2 team in the country, my adopted Cincinnati Bearcats for this season. How does it feel, Tyler, to be friends with someone that was so down and stubborn about Cincinnati, to have him finally be repaid for his efforts? How does it feel to be friends with them?
How does it feel to be friends with that person?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I feel very happy for your happiness.
Thank you very much.
It's genuine. It's heartwarming to get to see your friend, your best friend, smile ear to ear genuinely because something made their day. So I'm glad that we have that.
Right. Exactly. I think, I've never been happier for a team that I have literally zero attachment to ever. I don't have any attachment to Cincinnati. I frankly, to be honest, don't care.
I have more than you. I have a friend that goes to med school there.
I have a friend from high school that played on the Cincinnati team. He played defensive back for the Bearcats in when I was going to college. So, the Muschamp, McElwain era, those years kind of thing. So, just wanted to give them their shout outs. I know that friend, has been texting me recently, because I've been publicly talking about Cincinnati, and he's like, "Hey man, we appreciate it, this and that, whatever." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're welcome, my dude. You're welcome."
Of course.
I also did a kind of a victory lap. I'm going to plug here another podcast. I did a victory lap on Tailgaters, which is a podcast that is hosted by my friend Kevin Borba. I am a permanent guest on there for legal reasons. I am the permanent guest. And so I also talked about it.
You can't be host 2 different podcasts, buddy.
Absolutely not. I am loyal to Sideline Judgment first and foremost, as we all know. So yeah. I am but a mere guest on that other podcast. So you can find that on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, by the way, if you want to listen to my friend Kevin and myself. Tyler, realistically, the top 25, it pretty much has stayed the same for the most part. I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't care as much, except for Cincinnati, where I don't care. I just want the playoff one to come out, Yeah,
so when the playoff comes to come out, we'll probably list it all, because now you're just kind of shuffling until that happens.
Exactly. We'll go in depth when we get to the playoffs.
What matters is Florida has a chance to make Cincinnati number 1 in 2 weeks. It's down to us.
That didn't even click in my brain until just now.
It's down to us. It's our responsibility.
What if we beat Georgia and Cincinnati is not only the number 1 team in the AP poll, but a Mississippi State 2014 situation happens where Cincinnati is the number 1 team in the country?
The only thing I would caution is that would almost for sure curse them.
I think we said it before. No team that has started as the number 1 overall seed
win it.
I don't think any of them win it. So honestly, but a win for Cincinnati is making the playoff. That is a win for Cincinnati. So
anyway,
all right, Tyler.
Yeah.
There's no Gator game this week. That is both good and bad.
Honestly, I'm okay with that.
I was going to say it's good and bad. Good because we don't have to worry about a game this weekend. Bad because I have to wallow in the LSU loss and panic about Georgia for that much longer. And my cousin Vinny, the LSU fan, by the way, is going to be in town this coming Sunday, so I'm going to be having dinner with him. No, but it's okay. We're very blunt with each other. He knows how I feel. We text all the time, and so it's not going to be much of a rubbing in your face, but it's definitely going to be a how about that game?
Forget?
I thought there'd be another game, hopefully, where we could talk about the most recent games, but no, not happening.
Well, Tyler, LSU's probably going to lose to Ole Miss this week, so
exactly. Let's go to 5 wide real quick. Let's finish this episode off strong. As we discussed before we recorded, I don't want to say weak slate of games, but definitely not a heavy hitter of games. I mean, we're going to be watching them.
Weaker slate. Still got some good stuff in.
Exactly. And we start on Friday night, Tyler, with Memphis taking on UCF at the Bounce House, 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN2. I go first. I'll probably be watching this game with my UCF friend Matthew and my girlfriend Alexa. Those are two people that have an emotional attachment to UCF. So I have an emotional attachment to those people who have an emotional attachment to UCF. The bit's never going to die, Tyler. So don't roll your eyes. Come on.
No.
It's never going to die.
All these words just to say you like UCF.
That's just, all these words. All these words to say I'll be taking UCF over Memphis because I love my friend Matt and I'm very appreciative of being over at his house and him hosting us. So no, but honestly, UCF is rolling out a backup quarterback because Dylan Gabriel, Dylan Gabriel has been out with that clavicle that has been bothering him since the Navy game. I like what I've seen from the backup, whose name is escaping me. And this screams Friday night, Gus Malzahn putting on a show in national television. But then, 2 weeks ago, they lose to Navy or something like that. So I think this is the upswing of the Gus Malzahn roller coaster. So I'll take UCF.
I think UCF is very capable of winning this game for the ability to go separate and because I need points. I'm going to go Memphis because Memphis, I really loved what I saw when they played Navy. There was a period where Navy straight up did 21 plays, score a touchdown, and then Memphis scored a touchdown on the next play.
Okay, but
that's the way Navy games go. But
exactly. I was going to say in the defense of Navy, that's kind of the MO.
Thing. I was at the gym and I watched it happen. But I really like Memphis has a freshman quarterback that has been playing relatively well. I like their system, so I think I'm going to go with Memphis just to get some different stuff up in here. And I immediately regret it.
Well, you need to catch up, my guy.
I immediately regret it now that I've said it, but I got to start swinging for the fences. I can't be playing
but this is a much better pick than last week's Boston College.
4 verts every play.
I'm down 28 at halftime. Forget it. We're just going to go with it.
The ball. We ain't running the ball.
No, we ain't running the ball. All right, Tyler, next game we have Wisconsin at number 25 Purdue. That's a 3:00 kick on the Big Ten Network. This is now Saturday. You get to pick first. Who do you want?
Okay, so I so deeply feel that Wisconsin is going to ruin Purdue's thing, and I don't want to believe that. I genuinely I want Purdue to win this game, and I'm trying to figure out my feelings about it right now as I'm talking about it because I want to pick Purdue so bad. I really do. And I think they're better. Mm-hmm. But this screams what Purdue just did to Iowa. This screams what Wisconsin might do to Purdue.
Right.
So I'm going to go with my head. I'm going to pick Wisconsin. I can't believe I just did it.
Okay. That's fine. I was going to pick Wisconsin, but I think for the sake of content for the rest of the season, I can't believe you put me in this situation, Tyler. But I'm going to have to just pick opposite of you for the rest of the season until you get within a 1-possession game.
Or you just start blowing me out.
No, I'm definitely on NCAA. I'm up 35 in the Natty, and I want to make it a little close. So I'm just going to let you score until it's a 14-point game, and then I'll take care of it.
Defense in.
I'll put the second team defense in. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go with Purdue. Although I was going to pick Wisconsin for the same reasons that you picked Wisconsin, because I do feel like this is one of those. Oh, the Big Ten is just like a crapshoot, so we're just going to let it happen and pick the team. So I will take Purdue solely for content reasons.
Okay.
Next up, we got Clemson at Pitt. It is a 3:30 game on ESPN. This arguably could send Pitt, not right immediately, but could send Pitt to the ACC championship game if all goes well. If there is ever a Pitt game where Pitt could pit more, I don't think Pitt could pit any more than how they will pit in this game. And that means that the chaos will be in full effect. I think that Clemson will come in, even though Pitt is, I think, is a 3-point favorite at this point. I want the craziness. I want the insanity of Pitt winning a football game against Clemson and then celebrating about it, even though this is definitely not the Clemson team from years past. So I want Pitt. I will be taking Pitt. Tyler, who do you want?
As much as I'd love to pick Clemson, Kenny Pickett's the GOAT, so I have to go with Pitt.
Kenny Pickett is the GOAT. I love this universe that we're in the 43rd year of Kenny Pickett's quarterback career at
Kenny Pickett, notably better Pitt quarterback than Dan Marino.
These are just facts. We don't make up the rules. We just follow them. This is what the algorithm has told us. We're definitely numbers guys.
If Dan Marino could beat Clemson, you bet your ass Kenny Pickett can't.
Honestly, I don't know if Dan Marino has ever beaten Clemson. I don't know if he played Clemson at that point in his career. So after this, I'm pretty sure, Kenny Pickett 1-0 against Clemson. Not 1-0, but a victory against Clemson.
Right now. I'm looking
do it. Look it up. And as you do that, I will talk about the next game, Tyler, which is the number 8 ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys heading to Ames, take on Iowa State. It's a 3:30 kickoff on Fox. A lot of good 3:30 games this week. This game is a game that you will be picking first. So, Tyler, who do you want?
Let's think. Oh boy. So I've been picking against Oklahoma State all season. And Iowa State, those are my boys. Those are for content, those are my boys. But I continue to pick against Oklahoma State, and they continue to prove me wrong. And I want to get on the other side of it this time. So I think I'm going to pick Oklahoma State to win this game. I still think it's a very hollow number 8 ranking. I really I don't trust it. But I think as much as I want Iowa State to win, I have to trust that we keep picking against Oklahoma State and they keep winning. Maybe this will finally get them to lose, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
I think that this is a great decision, Tyler, on your part. I think Oklahoma State is a good football team. And I wanted to pick Oklahoma State. But again, solely for the content, I'm going to have to go with Iowa State. But I would have picked Oklahoma State for that same reason that you mentioned. I think eventually we have to just start taking them seriously. I don't think we have to start taking them seriously enough to where they're going to win Red River. Not Red River. I'm sorry, Bedlam. But I do think it's going to be a fun matchup. It'll be fun to see them lose to Oklahoma by 21. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch that. Right. Exactly. Next up, Tyler, the final game in 5 wide, the number 10 ranked Oregon Ducks at UCLA. It is a 3:30 kickoff on ABC. I am going to go first here. This is tough. This is very tough because it's not that I think UCLA is the better football team here. It's that I think that given what happened against Stanford, given the scheme changes that were made to go up against Oregon by Stanford, I think this is something that UCLA can kind of learn from. And man, this is tough, dude. It's at the Rose Bowl, right? It's not.
Yeah, UCLA is the home team. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's
all right. Well, I got house
it's
money
right down the street from me.
Oh, would you look at that? It's down the street from you. Would you look at that? I got house money. I'm going to take UCLA.
Gosh, I wish you wouldn't have said that because I want to take UCLA, and I still might just because I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Just because picking Oregon is not something I super believe in. I could super imagine Oregon's defense just kicks it in, and then they just run all the way through UCLA's defense, just run through it.
Mm-hmm.
But Oregon struggled with Cal last week. This is not a good Cal team.
Mm-hmm.
Cal has a pretty good defense, so that's fair. But I gotta go to UCLA too. I know I need to differentiate from you, but I can't. I think I would just lose.
Right, exactly.
And I think UCLA is gonna get them.
Smart.
Oregon is the better team, but I think UCLA is going to get them.
Better talent and all of that. All right, 2-point conversion. Testing 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Perfect. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And finally, Tyler, we have our 2-point conversion for the week. You go first, Tyler. What is your 2-point conversion game for this week?
I cannot believe I'm about to do this. But I almost picked them last week. They've burned me many times before. They are not a good football team. But the 2-4 Washington Huskies are going up against the 0-6 Arizona Wildcats.
Tyler,
and Lord Almighty, if they don't win this game, I'm done with Washington forever. But I'm going to take Washington to beat the
0-6 Arizona Wildcats. If they can't get me these 2 points, I don't know what I'm doing here.
I just want to say that if this is the team that ends up giving Arizona their first win of the season, we might have to cancel the competition for the rest. We might.
I will forfeit. Running clock. Running
clock. Oh my gosh. All right, Tyler. What time is that game, by the way? I don't know what time that game is.
It is 10:30 Pacific on Friday night.
So you're
10:30 Eastern on Friday night, 7:30 Pacific on Friday night.
So you're going to go into college football Saturday either being really depressed or just barely scraping by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. There's no situation when you're extremely happy this week. I want you to know that.
There's no – I mean, I could go complete win as many games as possible, and I'll still be so far behind you.
I love this. Okay, fine. You know what? Then for that sake – I'm going to go with a Friday night game. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go with a Friday night game. I'm going to go with a Thursday night game, Tyler. I am not going to be going with FAU Charlotte like you think I am. That's
actually really surprising to me.
I do like to go with my FAU, my new American Conference FAU Owls, typically with 2-point. But instead, Tyler, I'm going to go with the best uniforms in college football to go into Dallas and take on the number 21 ranked SMU Mustangs and beat them on national television at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN. It's the Tulane Green Wave to take on and beat SMU on the road on a Thursday night. How about that?
I respect it because Tulane's not that good this year.
Oh, I know.
I respect it because they do have the best uniforms still. So.
And this is definitely I'm up by so much I can afford to take a flyer.
I'm taking flyers.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna take a flyer this week. So I'm taking Tulane over SMU. Is it a smart choice? Absolutely not. Is it a fun choice? Oh, you bet it will be. All right, Tyler. That's it for the Week 7 review, the Week 8 preview. Are we going to be back to 2 episodes a week next week? That is up to. Hopefully, that's up to the Redacteds to see if. We can make that work. But if not, then we will for sure be putting out at least 1 episode next week. We will be reviewing and previewing. We may do some draft talk next week, little mid-season draft update.
It's not like last year. So much has changed.
Absolutely.
In the quarterback draft discussion as opposed to preseason that it requires talking. Because last year was the only thing was hey, Mac Jones is good. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still and Zach Wilson's good. It was it's still Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields.
Yeah, exactly. And then we ended up getting Devontae Smith winning the Heisman and, having crazy situations on that end. But on the draft end, we had, the consistent quarterbacks.
Exactly what we thought it was overall.
Right.
But it's completely changed.
The only thing that changed last season was just some random crazy bias that I can't pinpoint my finger on, but it's people thinking that Zach Wilson was better than Justin Fields. I don't know what it could have been, Tyler. I don't know. Do you have any idea? I don't know what it could have been. I'm not sure.
Color me curious.
Color me curious. Well put, Tyler. I love that. That was fantastic. Yeah. Listen, I know that I'm guilty of buying into the Zach Wilson hype as well. But I definitely didn't think that
there are people that say Mac Jones is better than Justin Fields.
We're not going to acknowledge those statements. There's people with prominent platforms that said that the best quarterback in the draft was going to be Kellen Mond. So everyone makes mistakes, I guess. we'll be back with some draft stock.
You put me back in a dark place with that.
I know, for real.
By the way, quick preview as it stands: Desmond Ridder QB1.
Oh, okay. I like this. It's not a deep class. It's not a very deep quarterback class.
It's not.
I can see why. We'll be back next week with some draft talk. We'll be talking some college football as well. And Tyler, that's about it here. Do you have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, just I'm actually very happy we don't have a Gator game this week because I'll get to watch all the other games and I won't get stressed about it. I've been trying to find ways to cut stress out in my life. And I've started to realize
are definitely one of them.
That like the Gators are at this moment the most prominent part of that. Because even by the way, the Jacksonville Jaguars got their first win. It wasn't on American soil, but we did.
We don't have to talk about that.
But it's like that. Even them, those games. I'm like, I don't get stressed about Jaguars games. Like, yeah, I want us to win, but we suck.
No, you're supposed to lose for the Jags.
I'm like, oh, the Gators are the most stressful part of my life right now. Who knew?
Yeah,
anyone who knows me probably could have told me that.
Listen, I'm a hockey guy, so I actually don't know what this NFL stuff you speak of, Tyler. I'm not aware of what happens with the local NFL team. I know the Panthers are 3-0. That's what I know. Best team in hockey. Florida's a hockey state.
Notable hockey state, Florida.
Absolutely. College football, never heard of her. All jokes aside, did you know that the Dolphins currently have a higher draft position than the Jaguars? And that means that the Dolphins don't actually have a draft position higher than the Jaguars because the Eagles have our draft pick. That's weird. I say our like I'm a Dolphin fan. I'm strictly a hockey person. I don't know why I'm referring to them that way. With all of that being said, Tyler, we're going to sign off. This has been another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And Tyler, we are not biased, but go Gators.
Go Gators.
Go Panthers.
Go bye week.